After no new episode of America's Got Talent last week, with it being the 4th of July, and again, happy 4th of July to anyone who celebrated, we're now back with a brand new episode for week 6, and I can't believe we're nearly towards the end of the auditions, to be honest. It's crazy how fast it's been. So it was a great episode for a return. We had one contestant who was originally part of a duo but performed solo. We had a grandma and granddaughter audition where Simon put one of them on the spot, and Simon hit his golden buzzer, into which he said it's one of his favourites of all time. We've got a lot to talk about in this week's recap and review of America's Got Talent Season 20, so let's get straight into the video. So I just want to say quickly, I just want to wish everybody who had an amazing 4th of July last week. I hope you guys had the most amazing day. I hope you had fun. And, as you know, last week, there was no episode last week, with it being the week of the 4th of July. So, again, I hope you guys had an amazing day. Whatever you did, I hope it was fantastic. But we're now back with a brand new episode for America's Got Talent Season 20. And we're now at episode 6. I cannot believe we've made it to this point. It's crazy. And it's not long, actually, until the live shows happen. It's like, it happens about in a month and a bit, I think. So, doesn't it start on the 19th of August, I think? Because I know there's a few, I know after episode 7, which is this upcoming week, there's like a kind of golden buzz episode, which is like, so there won't be like an actual episode. So we'll miss a week then again. And that's when I'll do my early picks and predictions. Basically, that's when I'll be doing that video. So a bit different to what I normally did like last year. Did it after episode 5, but I'm doing it after episode 7 this time around. But anyways, this week was a fantastic episode to come back. We had a great amount of acts as well. Some of them that really surprised me, in terms of like if I wasn't gonna like it, but I did end up liking it, and just it was an overall really great episode to basically come back for after our week's break. So again, I think we won't do too much talking right now. We're just gonna get straight into the recap. So kicking off the episode, we had if it will load, of course. There we go. We had Anna Saranina, who you may not know by name, but you'll recognize her when she was part of the Danger Act all the way back in 2016, Deadly Games, with Alfredo Silva, who the duo made it all the way to the semi-finals, and they were absolutely fantastic. I remember watching their performances on YouTube, and they were just amazing. And even coming from a Danger Act myself, someone who loves the Danger Acts, they really impressed me. But unfortunately, she's no longer with Alfredo. They've sadly gone their separate ways, which of course is really sad. And I do wish both of them the best of luck going forward. But anyways, and also they were on the Champions back in 2019, I believe, and they got Heidi's golden buzzer and they made to the final. She has been on France Got Talent as well. She's been a guest performer on Hunkabee, and she also appeared in an episode of Masters of Illusion. So when I found out that she was actually a member of Deadly Games, I was very excited because, as you know, I love Deadly Games. They are an absolutely fantastic act, and I could not wait for them basically for her to come back. So her audition basically included her performing a crossbow shooting routine set to Neoni's Dark Side, which included her basically shooting an arrow from 8 paces away. So she basically shot at like a target. I think it was like a red target, and then she literally blindfolded herself with tin foil, and that kind of reminded me a little bit of Aaron Crow's audition episode, where he kind of when he did like the was it the swords? He covered himself in tin foil, and he did this basically sliced a pineapple, I believe. I might need some correction on there, but he did something like that. But she basically put tin foil over her head with an electrical tape as well. And then she basically shot the crossbow to the target, which was so quite remarkable to watch, especially her doing it blindfolded. And even at the end, she invited Simon on the stage to basically shoot a target, and basically the target was near his area, let's just say. But she did that, and that was pretty cool. It's like kind of like a kind of little like You know what I mean. Anyways, the judges' comments for Anna. So Mel mentioned that she is badass and the ultimate girl power, standing right there. Sophia mentioned it was entertaining, and you can tell that it meant to her, and they're rooting for her. And Simon said, if she's going forward, this is very slow before getting on stage to have. Oh yeah, basically. Oh yeah, this was basically just so basically, he mentioned going forward, it was a bit slow, but regardless, he did say yes. I can't remember how he said. I can't remember exactly what he said, but for Danger Act to kick off the night here, I thought she was superb. Like her showmanship is absolutely off the charts, and the whole act, the building up, the anticipation was so exciting to watch. And I've mentioned this before. I'm a huge fan of Danger Acts that come on the show. We've had so many Danger Acts over the years. We've had Deadly Games, the Ramadani brothers. We've had so many unbelievable Danger Acts that have blown me away with their routines. But she, I mean, in Deadly Game, she was amazing. But by herself as a solo act, she's also just as amazing. Like again, I can mention just the whole routine just blew me away, and the amount of danger elements she was adding throughout the routine was so exciting to watch. And also, we've not had many danger acts so far this season, from what I've seen. So, I do think to see her make the live shows would be so great as well, especially for like that variety aspect in a sense. And I think it would be again, like I mentioned, it would be so great to see an act like this make the lives. And also, it's quite rare because I don't think we've had a danger act make the finals, like not like an acrobatic group in terms of danger, but like a legit danger act, like Deadly Games. I don't think we've had one of them make the finals. I don't think. I might need to like get some correction, but to see an act like that make it far in the competition would be so great to see. And I'm definitely excited to see what she brings next time if she does indeed make it, and I think that she will be definitely one to look out for if she does make the live shows. I just thought she was absolutely fantastic. Then we had the next step we had was Belle Melnick Vigorino, who is a 10-year-old guitar player. He hails from, just to get his page up because I'm kind of on the fandom just to do these notes here. So he's from New York City and he's aged 10 years old. And, he basically developed an obsession for rock and blues at the early age of 2 years old before picking up his first guitar at the age of 4. And it says here that he is a fan of Slash and he wanted to learn how to play the guitar, which kind of inspired him. And he also headlines the Bitter End Festival when he was 8 years old. And he's kind of taking part in other stuff. He was also part of the holiday special at the Apollo, as named as the youngest ever PRS Guitar Plus artist. So that was awesome. And honestly, I didn't have much expectations going into this episode, going into this act, to be honest. But let me tell you, this was for me is the definition of not judging a book by its cover, because he performed a Lenny Kravitz "Oh Gonna Go My Way," in my opinion the ultimate rock guitar song to do, and he sang at the beginning, and I have to say his singing wasn't actually half bad, actually, especially for 10 years old. It definitely got reminded me of that like kind of great rock singers we have in this generation, but for only 10 years old he was great. But the guitar playing he was doing blew my mind, and the guitar solo he was doing as well, that literally, I actually felt like I didn't want to believe that he was 10 years old and playing the guitar like that. He was just fantastic, and he reminded me a little bit of Ollie Pearson from back in Britain's Got Talent this year. And he really reminded me of that, especially with the showmanship he had. And just again, I just thought, this young man, I think, could do so well, and even in a few years' time, I think this guy could go on to do so many great things, even after ages, even if he doesn't make it as far. I just think he is absolutely fantastic for his age. Mel mentioned that he got so into it and did all the riffs, and she felt it. Howie mentioned the audience loved it. He was amazing. And Simon and Sophia mentioned that he is one of the coolest kids that he's seen this season. And didn't Simon say something? No, he didn't. I don't think it's not on the Gold Derby. But anyways, I can't I basically will have to say it because, like, again, I wasn't expecting him to be great, but my mind was literally blown watching throughout the whole performance. Just again, this guy just gives off a real. I think he has got so much potential to do so many good things in the near future after AGT. Like, and just again, his guitar skills I thought were absolutely just mind blowing to watch, especially for 10 years old, to be able to have that confidence to be performing, and singing as well. I wouldn't have that confidence if I was 10 years old, but my goodness gracious, this kid was absolutely just amazing. I can't describe it enough. He was so good, and again, I could definitely see him kind of being like this like dark horse underdog contestant that I think people, he could do a complete 180 and be like, oh my goodness, he completely stepped up his performance. Again, I just can't get my head around how good this young man is. I just thought he was so good. He was so good. And again, he is someone I would love to see make it far. Definitely in the live shows at least. I think for me, again, I hope to see him make it there. It would be so great as well. So I can't wait to see what he does next. And I just think he is absolutely just superb. And next up we had was Mike Munns, who is basically kind of a muscle kind of bodybuilder, basically. So, and this was actually quite an interesting act, to be honest. So basically he is a bodybuilder trainer. He's from South Florida, and he has weightlifted for approximately 14 years and fell into love with the progress, results, and the lifestyle. And he actually has built his own solid foundation of knowledge and became both a weightlifter and a bodybuilder. So, and he also competed on the Organization of Competition Bodies, aka the OCB. So that's interesting. And he did a bodybuilding routine to Kick Bass Rock and Roller. I don't know what the song that was, but this was very interesting to watch. As I normally, this wouldn't be my favorite act to watch, but I think what he was doing was quite impressive to watch. So, Simon mentioned that he wasn't expecting it. He's never seen anything like it. And the muscles. Sophia mentioned that she loved it. It was surprising. And Mel mentioned that it was very fit and unique. And all I think Simon mentioned, about kind of saying, oh, I know someone who about this, who needs help about this, and I was just kind of thinking to myself, we know it's you, Simon. Just say it to yourself. But no, again, I think normally this act isn't my necessary favorite, but like, again, like normally I'm not a massive fan of these type of bodybuilding acts all the time, but I have to say what he was doing was very impressive, and just and he's got this like good showmanship to him, which I really like. It was very unexpected as well to watch, and just again, it was a really surprising audition. I don't think many people have expected it, because I thought he was going to be like a reject act. When I first saw him in the NBC photo gallery, but no, he actually got 4 yeses. So good on him. Just got to take some water. Very warm today, so got to keep hydrated. But anyways, again, I think what he was doing was very clever and unique. But it's not. I don't think it's something I would want to see in the live shows though. Just because I think this for me is like a one-time thing. Like, where do you go with this act? Like, what's the next progression if you were to make it through? So, I don't know. I might just be kind of looking at this at a different perspective, but I don't know. I really don't know. But anyways, again, like I mentioned, I thought what he did was very good. I got to give him loads of credit for doing what he did. And yeah, so that's really that. So anyways, let's just move on to the next act. And that is Austin Brown. Now, for those who don't remember, but he was actually this is a little bit of a backstory here, but this is actually his second attempt of auditioning, because back in episode 2, he was on episode 2 and he did When a Man Loves a Woman by Michael Bolton. And he got 2 yes votes and 2 no votes, meaning that he didn't make it through to the next round, the deliberation stage. And, I didn't cover that because normally, for context, I don't normally want to cover reject acts unless they are on the episode, like the actual YouTube channel page. I'll because when I do these reviews, I'm always going to include the acts that were shown on YouTube with their fully audition aired, well at least shown on the YouTube channel to do my reviews on. So any like montage acts or any that doesn't appear on the YouTube channel of AGT, I don't include. And I've always done that. Even for the past few years, when I've done like posts about it, I don't include the montage acts whatsoever. But there were quite a few montage acts. I was kind of surprised that didn't make it get fully shown. But one of them was an aerialist. I think his name was Oleg. I think so. That was a big surprise there. But again, so anyways, as I mentioned, so he performed "When a Man Loves a Woman" in the episode 2, and he got 2 yes votes and 2 no votes, meaning he didn't go through to the next round. Basically, and I believe Austin asked if he could sing another song, but Simon mentioned that they didn't have time to do it on that day because this was one of the first few days. But he did say Simon did say to maybe to Austin to talk to the producers and to figure out a day when they could come back. So that happened, and for those few weeks I was kind of thinking to myself, are we going to see him come back? Like, is he going to be getting aired again? Are we going to see him at any point? And I was kind of like, going through the few weeks, my mind, I was kind of like, I kind of stopped thinking about him because I was thinking, oh, maybe he didn't come back in the end. But he actually came back for this episode to prove his second chance was worthy, and he performed his original song called "Somebody Believed." I've never heard the song before because it's an original song. Because there's some songs that I wouldn't have known, even if I didn't know the song before. But like I mentioned, he did his own original song, and bottom line is, I absolutely loved this guy's voice. How he said that he has a beautiful voice, it spoke to him, and he mentioned that he did what he needed to do. Mel mentioned that that it made sense, and that she could feel what he was feeling. And Sophia mentioned that it feels this is what he was meant to be singing, and Simon mentioned that Simon mentioned that he sounded true to who he was, like a country singer, and I definitely got like his singing voice was great, but it also reminded me a little bit of Florida Georgia Line, Brian Kelly from Florida Georgia Line, who we know was the mad scientist monster on The Masked Singer earlier this year, and I have to say he kind of does look a little bit like Brian Kelly from Florida Georgia Line. I have to say I didn't even notice that until looking back. I was like, oh yeah, he does look a bit like him. But he really made the most of his second chance here, and he definitely, like I mentioned, he made the most of it, as it was a much better performance compared to his performance he did back in episode 2 all those weeks ago. And his vocals were really impressive, especially the high notes he was hitting at some points in the song. That really kind of gave me goosebumps. And again, like I mentioned, I feel like songwriting is where he's more strong at, as he's clearly a great songwriter. So that is just, again, I think he's got so much potential to do well. And I believe, isn't he from an a cappella group? Wasn't he on what was that show Pentatonics were on? I can't remember what it's called. I'm gonna have to Google that quickly. Was it not The Voice? The Sing Off? Was it the Sing Off? I think it was the Sing Off. Okay, it was the Sing Off. I couldn't think what show they were on, but I think they were on that show. I think it might have been something else. But regardless, I thought vocally he was fantastic. I loved the song as well. He sang his original song, and like I mentioned, I think songwriting is definitely in his wheelhouse going forward. And while the Michael Bolton song, I did actually end up listening to it, and it was good. But I feel like it wasn't like fully AGT yet. But again, I'm so glad Simon gave him another chance to come back. And I'm so glad that Austin made the most of it, as he sounded fantastic. I'm so happy that he returned. And just, yeah, I'm very glad that he returned. And I would love to see what he does next. I have a feeling they could cut him in the deliberations, but at the same time, if he were to make the live shows, he kind of gives me that kind of like Daniel Emmett underdog storyline, because if you remember with Daniel Emmett back in in season 13. He was eliminated in the judge cuts, but was brought back as a wild card in the quarterfinals, and he made all the way to the final where he survived the Duncan save and the judge's choice. So he was really, for me, the underdog of the season. So this could kind of give me that vibe that I think Austin could be that dark horse that nobody expects to do well. But yeah, I'm very interested to see what he does next. And I think if he does more songwriting, more original songs, he could definitely do very well in the competition. So that's that. And next up, we had Adam Borland, who is a dancer from Newport, and he is aged. How old is he? I need to get. I keep going back to my Gold Derby and pages. Okay. So Adam Borland, he is a dancer, aged. He's from Newport Richey, Florida, and he's done musical theatre. He's been in Cats. He's done ballet. He's been in Moulin Rouge. So all that stuff. So he's basically done quite a lot of dancing, but this performance was not the best, to be honest. If I'm honest here, so he did a dance routine to the Spice Girls "Stop." So Mel B was quite happy to be watching that, and I actually didn't realize his performance was shown briefly, because I know I clicked on it. It was quite short. I was like, okay, maybe they just left the judges' comments out, but no, it was actually montage leading up to the next act, which we'll talk about in a minute. But he did a dance routine to the Spice Girls, and again, there were some points I thought he did okay, but there were other points he was just leaping around the stage and not really doing much of the dancing, to be honest. But he got buzzers from Simon and Howie, and Simon's only comment said his Simon's only comment he gave was, "I think I think you're fun, but it wasn't a great dance act," which I definitely agree. It wasn't anything so spectacular. And just like, it didn't really go anywhere, because to be honest with you, I thought he was going to be good when I first saw him in the gallery. I was like, oh, okay, maybe he's going to be like contemporary kind of dancing, but it just didn't really hit with me. It was more of just leaping around the stage and doing these moves, which just didn't really work out for me, if I'm honest with you. So that was just a bit of a shame, to be honest with you. But again, he likely didn't go through to the next round, but regardless, I hope he does. I hope he has whatever he does. I hope he does well in. I hope he continues the dancing that he's doing and he makes the most of it. As I'm sure he's definitely got talent, but it just may not been the best day for him to do it. So good luck to him in the future, regardless. And next up, we had one of my favourite acts of the night, to be honest with you. This and the last act, which I thought was the best act as well, which we'll get onto a bit later on in the video. But we had the EDT dance team, who are a kind of like cheerleading group from New Orleans, I believe. Are they from New Orleans? They're from Louisiana, New Orleans. And they also go under the name of Airy Dance and Tumbling. And it was created by the coacher, which is Eri Tolliver, back in 2021 after she graduated from university. And they've performed, I'm sure they've done other events. They've done, so they have, done other stuff, as you can see. I'm just reading. It's not too much that really kind of springs to mind, in my opinion. So it actually started off with one of the members actually coming on the stage. There's only one of the members. Her name was Journey, I think, and she kind of started performing by herself to Bruno Mars and Rose's ABT, which, to be honest with you, that song can get a bit annoying at times, especially when I've heard it so many times on the radio. It's just like, okay, this is probably the most basic song to do it routine to. But then the other members from the side of the stage, going down the aisles, actually started coming up on the stage for the routine. So that's the indication that, okay, there's more of them. So there's more of this group. So they did a kind of dance, tumbling, cheerleading routine to that. And honestly, I don't care what anyone says, I absolutely loved this performance. I just thought everything about the whole routine was so exciting to watch. And also, they have been shown in the trailers quite a few times this season. And so I was quite excited to see when they'd be aired. And I thought they were just brilliant. I thought they were brilliant. So Sophia mentioned that dancing is her favourite, and she mentioned they're one of her favourites this season and wants them to go very far in the competition. Simon mentioned it's a great dance act where a lot of the younger acts are coming in with real determination this year, and it's definitely showing as well. And especially in some of the younger acts, we saw Bay as well earlier this episode. But again, I just loved this whole routine. I thought they were super. If there was like a bunch of like, if it was just like maybe adults doing it, okay, I'd be like, okay, that's pretty good. But for young kids to be doing this routine with that confidence, again, I just thought they were fantastic, and to be honest, it didn't feel like I was watching an audition whatsoever. It felt like I was watching a legit like actual event, because I know they do a lot of cheerleading events like in the NBA, etc., etc. Again, and also like I love seeing cheerleading acts on the show. We've had them on BGT. The two that really came to mind have been Lady Grenades from Britain's Got Talent last year, and Cheery Mans from this year, who I still feel should have been in the final, in my opinion. But to see some cheerleading on, I think this was cheerleading. I think it definitely gave that vibe of it. But regardless, again, the whole routine was so infectious to watch. The routine was great. The choreography was great. The acrobatics were amazing. And like some of the moves they were doing was really took me by surprise. I think one of them was like a death drop, I believe. I think one of the members mentioned one of the moves they did. I think at the end or was it the middle? I can't remember. It was a death drop. And again, some of the acrobatics they were doing just blew my mind throughout the whole performance. And again, it was just onto this was again, I absolutely loved this act. I just think it was so great to see, so enjoyable to watch. And again, I think out of the groups, especially the younger kind of dance category this year, I would love to see these guys in the live shows to see what they do next. I don't think they're going to win. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I still thought they were just great. Again, my bias may be showing here, but still, I thought they were just brilliant. And again, you may feel free to share your thoughts about that in the comments below. But again, from my personal preference, I just thought they were fantastic to say the least. I absolutely loved them, and again, I hope we see them in the live shows. In this August, basically. So I can't wait to see what they do, and I hope we do see them in the live shows. I just love them. So next up we had was Gina and Liliana Bellina, who is a singing granddaughter and grandma duo. So basically, let me just get them up quickly. So they are a vocal duo, and I believe Liliana actually signed Gina to do the audition actually, which is actually really nice of her. And just of course, I love seeing the fact it's a granddaughter and grandma, bond. It's really cute as well. So it basically kicked off with Gina performing an original song that she wrote called "I Need Love," and there was a band there with the two there. So that was cool. But for me, like her vocals were in my opinion quite rocky to say the least. And like the songwriting, I thought was the song. I mean, which we'll get into in a minute. But her vocals sounded really rocky to me. But so Simon basically halted the performance for a minute and put Liliana on the spot and asked her to sing it, and so she did that. So again, normally I'm not a fan of these like fake out drama produced auditions where Simon stops it, and I've never been a fan of them. It really kind of irritates me sometimes because it feels, I've mentioned this many times before, but it just seems so overproduced when they do it. It feels it doesn't seem real. Of course, I don't want to believe that it's fake, but it comes across that. I don't know if it's just the TV airing. I don't know if it's just editing, or the producer editing stuff in. I don't know. But anyway, so Simon asked Liliana to sing that song, and the granddaughter Liliana, she sounded amazing. Her voice was amazing. The way she did that song with the band as well was so good. Like her granddaughter's got such a great voice, but also you could tell the pride and the proudness on Gina for her granddaughter. You could tell how proud she was of her, regardless. And Simon mentioned as long as Gina is prepared to let Liliana sing, it could work. And I do think Simon has made a good point there because, Simon, I think Gina's wheelhouse is more of the songwriting and Liliana's is the singing. So, and how we mentioned that she had a gorgeous voice, and even Gina agreed. She was like, absolutely, she's got an amazing voice, and I'm so glad that she also recognises that in her granddaughter, which is lovely. Mel B wasn't a fan of it. That didn't quite get there for her, which I guess that I could kind of understand. And Sophia mentioned that people are going to love her. And I do think this act could potentially work. As like I mentioned, while I think this was heavily scripted, which again, I'm not a fan of these, even though I don't want to believe it, there is no denying that a fabulous relationship, the two. But Liliana's voice really is just beautiful, to say the least. And the way she performed the song with the band was just beautiful as well. And again, I also have to give some credit to Gina as well, because while not being vocally great, she's a good songwriter. She's definitely a great songwriter. So I think I think Simon mentioned this perfectly. If Liliana does more of the singing and Gina stays in her wheelhouse with the songwriting, this could work. I may sound like a madman when I say that, but I genuinely think that it could work out. But again, I feel do I think these guys are going to make the live shows? I really don't know if they will, because it just seems like a one time I don't know. I don't think these guys are going to make the live shows at the minute. But again, we could have some surprises this season, as you know, which we do often actually. We do have quite a few surprises over the years where some acts make it surprisingly in the live shows, even if I may not agree with that, to be honest. But again, we'll find out later towards the time. So let's just move on to the next act, which was another returning contestant from season 14, which was Yurian Retriever, who is a kind of like novelty act dancer who was originally on season 14 and just she was on season 14 and didn't make the next round. And I believe so she returned. I don't really remember her, to be honest. But she returned and she basically did she did a kind of like a air hamster act to Katy Perry's California Girls, which Simon, Mel, and Simon buzzed, even though Mel B actually retracted her buzzer. Again, like, I'm sorry, but what on earth was this act? Like, it made no sense to me. Like, it was just her pretending there was like an air hamster in the air. It was like doing somersault tricks, and it was like, I just thought to myself, like, what was the point of airing this act? Like, this could have been a montage act or something where we could have had Oleg, the aerialist, I think his name was, or there was another group, wasn't there? Like, there was Monkey Manias at them. There's basically a bunch of guys dancing in a bunch of ape costumes. That even if they did get a buzz, which apparently they did, they could have maybe been more watchable compared to this act. Like, it's just I don't know what to say at this rate. So anyways, Mel mentioned that she likes her. She just didn't know what it was. There was nothing in the box, there was nothing in your hand, which there obviously wasn't. Sophia mentioned it wasn't as funny. Harry mentioned that she's a brilliant comedian. But yeah, Simon, basically she got 2 yeses, 2 no's, meaning she's out. She's not making it further. Again, it was just like, what was the point of airing this act? It was just bad to watch. And to be honest, like, I don't know. Like, there's just something about this act that just did not make sense to me. And I just don't know what else to say other than it was just not good. It was not good whatsoever. I can't stress that enough. It was not good. Okay. So, we're just going to move on to the next act, which is the Golden Buzzer, just so we can just kind of move on, just so I don't have to keep yapping on about, because it was just a waste of time, to be honest. So let's move on to Simon's Golden Buzzer, which was the Birmingham Youth Choir, who are from Birmingham, Alabama, USA. And I know you may have been wondering when you first heard the name, are they from the UK? Because Birmingham is a city in the UK. No, they're not from the UK, even though Birmingham is a city in the UK. I've never been there before. I don't think I ever will go to Birmingham, but it's actually a place in Alabama, which to be honest, I didn't really know. So the choir director grew up in the Street Baptist Church where a bombing actually occurred 60 years ago, taking the lives of 4 people, which of course is really upsetting. And basically, um, so basically, the choir formed, and and they've done other stuff. I think they've done like kind of like they basically shared their music with places. I don't know where I've seen them. I don't know where I don't know what they like events they've done. I know one of them. I think the director of graduated university, according to the fandom. But apart from that, there's not much I mean, yeah, there's not much that I've seen on here that screams they've done so many events. They might have done, but maybe I'm just like not focusing properly. So their performance included them performing a gospel song, including an intro to Joyful from Sister Act. I didn't know the other song they did. I probably had no idea. Was it Joyful, or was it a completely different like church hymn? But I don't know. I didn't know. Again, I didn't know what the song was they were singing whatsoever. But regardless of that, I thought they performed it really well. Like the vocals that everyone was given was great, especially the two lead vocalists, the two girls who did the lead vocals. I thought had superb voices, to be honest. And Simon literally, I think for the first time ever, he literally walked up to the golden buzzer and pressed it for them, which I don't think I've ever seen Simon do that before, where he walks up to a gold to the golden buzzer, because doesn't normally how we do that. I think he normally does that, so that was the first for Simon. And also for Simon to hit it for choir was unexpected in a way, because Terry normally presses the golden buzzer for choir, so he's pressed it for the Detroit Youth Choir. He's pressed it for the Voices of Our City. I think those are the only two choirs he's actually ever done that for. I think so. That's pretty interesting. So the fact Simon pressed it for a choir is actually pretty exciting, to be honest. And I think it's the first choir he's done it for since I think, wasn't it Sainted in Fantasy League a few years ago. Yeah, I do remember them. They were fantastic as well in Fantasy League. And again, I think their vocals were absolutely fantastic. Like, because I know people can be quite picky on choirs. I can be sometimes, but this genuinely impressed me. Like the lead vocalists were really good, and the harmonies of the whole group, the choreography in a way, to the song, and you could tell they were having the best time up there and just doing what they did. I gotta give them so much credit for them. And honestly, in a way, I'm not surprised Simon actually pressed the golden buzzer for them. I'm really not surprised, as I think, and I love when Simon presses these type of golden buzzers, because it really shows, how much he respects acts like these. And I've always had appreciated that from Simon, because I think since he's became a dad, he's really opened up about and showing his kind heart in a way, because he used to be called Mr. Nasty. That was like his nickname. But I love seeing Simon doing these type of golden buzzers, even though it may not be everybody's liking. I can still appreciate for Simon what he did, and even if they didn't get a golden buzzer, I still thought they were great. I mean, I wouldn't impress the golden buzzer in my opinion, but regardless of that, I still thought they sounded great. Again, like I mentioned, I didn't know the song they sang apart from the Sister Act intro. I think there was. But again, I still thought they were great. Vocally they were great. I mean, I think as of right now, take some more quickly. There we go. Anyways, as I was saying, I think out of Simon's golden buzzers now, of them and Lightwire in the premiere, for me, Lightwire is probably leaps and bounds compared to the choir, in my opinion. And I think a majority can agree. I don't know how, because I don't know who's going to make it the furthest. I assume Lightwire will make it the furthest. And I mean, I could see them being. I could see the choir here being a potential dark horse, maybe. But of course, we'll find out later towards the live shows. But still, regardless of what people may think, I still thought this was a great performance. And I'm not necessarily mad they got the golden buzzer, even though it felt a bit predictable in a way. But still, I still really enjoyed their performance regardless, and I can't wait to see what they do in the live shows later this year. And finally, we have the last act of the night, which was literally, without question, for me, the best of the night as well. That was Gendai, who is a Japanese laser dancer, and he was actually shown in the trailers as well. In the first trailer, I believe, the one with I didn't know his name actually because I assumed it was maybe made in Vietnam again, but maybe under a name. But no, it's a different person. So he's from Tokyo, Japan, and he basically a laser dancer, and and he was shown in the trailers as well, and I was pretty excited to see what he was going to do. And this was by far, in my opinion, the best performance of the night, without question. So he did a laser and dance routine to a Japanese version of Bonnie Tyler's "Holding Out for a Hero," and let me tell you, this just was absolutely on another level to what I've seen this season. It was so exciting to watch the whole routine, and how he mentioned that it looked like a video effect. It was spectacular. Sophia mentioned that she was in shock, and Simon mentioned it was incredible and unexpected. But Mel B mentioned that she was confused, and she voted no for this act as well. And I'm like, no, like what? Why are you confused about? It's literally it's such a good act. Like, why are you so confused over an act? Like, honestly, Mel B this year has been so critical this year. Like I think she said no to quite a few good acts this year. To Team Recycled, Duo Soma, and now him. I'm like, Mel B, what on earth are you? Are you on a different planet to what we're watching? Because this was not boring. This was not confusing whatsoever. It was more than that. It was just sensational to watch. And I'm not even being overdramatic. I was genuinely in shock watching the whole routine. And it's easily one of the most exciting, unique acts I've seen the whole season. It was so just mind blowing to watch. Like, the visuals were amazing, the choreography was amazing, and the way this synchronicity he was doing with this routine was absolutely spot on. The lasers, just everything was so well timed out. And honestly, I know I've seen people share this same opinion, but I'm honestly shocked this wasn't the golden buzzer this episode. I thought he should have absolutely gotten the golden buzzer for this act. It was by leaps and bounds one of the most. I think this has got to be one of the most incredible acts I've ever seen on Got Talent over the years. It's just so incredible and what he was doing, and something so unique that I don't think we've seen before on the show, especially for AGT. I don't remember an act like this, So he absolutely blew me away with this performance. I can't believe Mel B said that she was confused. Like, she needs to stop being a hater for once, But again, in all seriousness, this was absolutely sensational to watch. I think I would love to see what this guy has, as I think he could be one of those real contestants that I could actually see going really far in the competition. I think I would love to see him in the live shows. I think he should be in the live shows. I could definitely see him as a real contender if he makes it. And just again, this is the type of act I think that deserves to be on the stage. This felt like this was the definition of Vegas. This is an act I would totally go and see in Vegas. It's so exciting, it just blew my mind watching this performance. It was absolutely remarkable to watch, and I really hope we see him in the live shows later this year. I just think he is out of this world, and just again, I just think he could go I could definitely see him making it all the way. To be honest, I think he's definitely one of those contestants. I think that could surprise us more and more as it progresses. I just think he's world class, to be honest. And again, like I mentioned, to see him in the live shows would be so exciting. It would just be so great to see him in the live shows, and I really hope we do, as I just think he is sensational. So that is it for this week's recap and review of America's Got Talent Season 20. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Who are your favourite acts of the episode? And of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts of it in the comments below. And of course, like I mentioned, we'll be back next week for a new episode. But after episode 7, it'll be another break. But it'll be I think it's the greatest golden buzzers, I think, type episode. So it's not like I'll probably won't do any videos on that, but I will. So the week that we have that golden buzz episode on the Tuesday, I'm going to be doing my my updated, not my update, but I'm going to be doing my early picks and predictions for this season's finals. And of course, I'll share you the contenders who I think will be making it far. Of course, my top five. And of course, after the season, I'll be doing my tier maker. Probably around, so if it's the last audition, I think it's on August 5th. So maybe either on the Thursday, probably on the Thursday. I think I'll probably do that video. Unless actually, might be that on either that on the Friday. I'm leaning towards the Friday. Depends when we find out the lineup, because I try to do that before we find out the lineup. So regardless, anyways, thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and if you liked it, please like and subscribe with both notifications turned on. I would really appreciate that. But for now, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time.